going to go back and forth between two different versions of the script. It's all yours.
Good morning. Welcome to Denton Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Kim, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Whatever your reason, whatever your worldview or spiritual tradition, age, race, gender identity, sexual orientation, financial means, physical ability, political affiliation, or immigration status, you are welcome here. Newcomers, please complete an online visitor information card to connect with us. See the chat or the seat pocket in front of you. Each week, children ages 0 to 3 are welcome in the sanctuary or in the nursery in the fellowship hall. Children ages 4 through 5th grade are invited to join Explorers Group by signing in at the Welcome Wagon, and then will be invited to their room later in the service. Youth 6th through 12th grade are invited to remain in the service. Our announcements this morning. Denton Cups invites you to their 2026 Ostara celebration this coming Saturday here at Doof. Gather at 7 p.m. to start at 7:30. Expect merriment and joy, and please bring your favorite chocolate to share, and your sense of whimsy. More substantial food is also welcome for the potluck to follow. Please see Sin after service if you have any questions. Doof will be at No Kings 3 on March 28th. The social justice team will represent Doof at the No Kings 3 protest at the downtown Denton Square on Saturday, March 28th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to noon. All Doof friends and members are welcome to join us as we joyfully express our support for democracy and UU values of pluralism, justice, and equity for all people, and do a little outreach for the fellowship too. If you would like to help with setting up, staffing the booth, or closing down, please contact Social Justice Team at dentonuuf.org by 6 p.m. on Friday, March 27th. Join Doof Social Justice Team on March 22nd at 2 p.m. in the Fellowship Hall for a few hours of creativity, community, and fun with our friends from Outreach Denton. We'll be crafting to create decor for our Outreach Denton's upcoming event honoring Trans Day of Visibility on March 31st. All are welcome. After worship today, please join us in the Fellowship Hall through this door for coffee and conversation. Today, we welcome Cynthia Talbot to the pulpit. Cynthia is the coordinating officer for the Denton Cups chapter, a position she has held since 2018. She is a public school teacher, an environmental health inspector, a Unitarian Universalist, and a pagan. She has been a practicing witch for almost 40 years. She holds degrees from the University of North Texas and the University of Texas. She grew up in the city of Chicago, but spent many summers traveling the U.S. and our neighboring countries with her mom and visiting her agrarian grandparents, where she formed a lifelong fascination for other cultures and travel. She has been a resident of Denton for far too long and most enjoys teaching, running cups rituals, and traveling anywhere in the world as often as possible, and then coming home to her cats. Welcome. Now let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship. Do I have helpers? Oh, Frankie wants to go first. Are you ready?
하늘은 misraven kallen jesong ni arven bosbrer jag mig och sair golor slom kor kadave onyans teor zmurana ria mehis bendur ahante Come by the hills to the land where fancy is free, and stand where the peaks meet the sky and the loves meet the sea, where the rivers run clear and bracken is gold in the sun, and the cares of tomorrow can wait till this day is done.
Today's service has a very pagan beginning. For joy and for fun, and because it's spring. Cool. I didn't expect Ode to Joy as I was reading, but that was appropriate. Hear you then the charge of the goddess, abridged a bit by me because it's really long and this is not a traditional recital after all. Listen to the words of the Great Mother, who of old was called many names: Artemia, Astarte, Danu, Caradwin, Brigid, and by many other names. Whenever you have need of anything, once a month, and better it to be when the moon is full, you shall assemble in some secret place and adore the spirit of me, who is queen of all the wise. Sing, feast, dance, make music together, and love and care for each other, all in my presence. For mine is the ecstasy of the spirit, and mine is the joy on earth. For my law is only love unto all beings. Mine is the secret that opens the door of youth, and mine is the cup of wine that is from the cauldron of Caradwin, that is the holy grail of all immortality, knowledge. Hear the words of the star goddess, the dust of whose feet are the hosts of the heavens, whose body encircles the universe. I, who am the beauty of the green earth and the white moon among the stars and the mysteries of the waters, I call upon you to arise and come unto me, for I am the soul of nature that gives life to the universe, from which all things proceed and to which all things must return. Let my worship be in the heart that rejoices, for behold, all acts of love and joy and pleasure are my rituals. Let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence within you. For you who seek to know me, know that seeking and yearning will avail you not unless you know the mystery, which is that all that you seek, if you find it not within yourself, you will never find it without. For behold, I have been with you since the beginning, and I am that which is attained at the end. I now invite Marissa and Jeremiah to come light the chalice.
We light this chalice for the quiet truths we carry and for the futures we're brave enough to write. In this space, we honor the courage it takes to live openly, the softness that sustains us, and the joy and power that grow when we gather. As the chalice glows, may we feel steadiness rise in us. May we trust that our becoming, messy, radiant, and unfolding, wholly belongs to us. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn 327, Joy Thou Goddess.
Joy, thou goddess fair, immortal, offspring of Elysium, mad with rapture to the portal of thy holy fane we come. Fashion's law indeed may sever, but thy magic joins again. Humankind is one forever, 'neath thy mild
would now like to invite all the kids down for a story for all ages and a surprise. I'm going to preface this story briefly by telling you that it is an ancient tale from the Wiccan religion. It goes all the way back to 1979. It was long ago, and it was the time of winter. Snow covered the ground, and a chill in the air made it harsh and unforgiving. It was not a time to be about. Whiteness was everywhere. The world slept, and a little girl had strayed far from her home, a very bad thing, but such as our children want to do. And she found herself wandering about in the woods. Alone, she was cold and tired and afraid. In despair, she dropped down in the snow and began to cry. She cried for her home, she cried for her parents, she cried for her life. Then she saw it, a bird, a frozen little bird, lying dying in the snow. She jumped up and rushed to take the bird into her arms, and she held it close to herself, wrapping it tightly in her arms. She tried to warm the bird and thaw its frozen wings, but it was too cold, and life was quickly leaving the bird's body. She was beside herself. She thought only of the bird, not seeing that she too would soon be in the same situation. And she cried out for help. Help! Help! This bird to live, she cried. Oh, goddess Ostara, please help this bird. Now, Ostara was a very busy goddess, and she had a lot to do this time of year especially, but it piqued her interest that this girl was calling on her to help a bird instead of herself when she was freezing. So she decided to investigate and maybe lend a hand. So Ostara came to the girl, and she floated over the snowy landscape, and in her wake, flowers bloomed and sweet scented blossoms burst into color out of the snow. And gentle laughter could be heard on the breeze. She was glorious to behold. The girl was astounded. She jumped up. No? Okay. And thrust the bird at Ostara. Save it, she cried. Make it well, using the demanding voice that only small children have the nerve to use in the presence of a goddess. Ostara took no mind of the girl's inappropriate behavior. She knew her intent and motives. The girl was young and selfless and sincere. So Ostara reached out her hand and touched the bird with one delicate finger. Light flowed through her, warming the bird. Its eyes opened, and suddenly its foot twitched. It hopped out of the girl's hand and began to flop about madly in the snow. The girl squealed, hooray, in delight. You saved it, she announced, and danced about the snow, overjoyed. But wait, hey, the girl said after watching the bird for a while, its wings are still frozen. It can't fly. You didn't do it right. Oh my. Now, Ostara wasn't used to this kind of response when she had just performed a minor miracle. But with her divine patience, which was by now wearing a little thin, She gave the bird one last effort, another chance at survival. She reached over to the hopping bird and touched it again gently with her hand, turning it into a rabbit. "There," she said to the girl, "now it has no need of wings." And as the now totally confused bunny hopped off into the brush, Astara drifted away to perform other tasks of sunshine and light and get as far away as possible from the demanding young girl. The child was delighted at the sight of the bunny scrambling into the snow-covered brush. "All better," she smiled, and suddenly remembered the way home. Now, all of this was fine for Astara and the girl, but what about that rabbit? Well, now this was one totally confused little animal. The rabbit, still thinking it was a bird, kept right on laying eggs. And to this day, when the snow melts and the flowers bloom and the air is filled with the sweet scent of blossoms and warmth, the eggs tell of color, of spring, of Ostara and her gift of renewed life and release from winter chill. And these are the tokens of Ostara's love to all of us here. Just like these. You can have one. No. Hey, y'all are so demanding when miracles happen. Poof, chocolate appeared magically. What do you want? Now, I would ask who would like to light the chalice today. Okay? Me? Okay. I'm not sure who me answered, but you want to help? Okay. How about you hold it? Okay, who's coming to help me light? You can do it? Come on. Jeremiah, help you.
Baby can't play the fire.
No, that would be bad. You want to try? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay. Oh, that's a hard thing. Here. Okay, everybody hold on. You want to help too? Okay, here we go. Ready? If you'll say with me the words in your order of service. This is our chalice of love and of light, uniting you by day and by night. And we will now sing you on your way. Thank you. Minds be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your hearts know love as your hands do the work of justice. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. Concerns shared, sorrows shared, and joys shared. Give yourself permission to feel joy, to enjoy that happiness, however fleeting. Doesn't mean you aren't sad or grieving or worried. It means you're alive. And joy is contagious. Take a deep breath of the joy that permeates this building. This place was built to share joy and hope. Try this meditation with me for a minute. I'll start, and if you feel up to it, you can follow along. With gratitude, I remember the people, animals, and plants I have met with joy. Creatures of the sky, sea, and air, water, fire, and earth, all whose joyful exertion blesses my life every day. I have met in joy. With gratitude, I remember the care and labor of 1,000 generations of elders and ancestors who came before me, that I have met in joy. I offer my gratitude for the blessings on this earth I have been given, that I have met with joy. I offer my gratitude for the family and friends that I have been given and that I have met with joy. I offer my gratitude for the community I have been given, that I have met in joy. Just as we are grateful for our blessings, so we can be grateful for the blessings of others. Continue to breathe gently and bring to mind someone you care about, someone it is easy to rejoice for. Picture them and feel the natural joy you have for their well-being, happiness, and success. Breathe in and fill your mind with heartfelt wishes. I offer you these. May you be joyful. May your happiness increase. May you not be separated from happiness. May your good fortune and the causes for your joy and happiness increase. Take another deep breath of the joy that permeates this building, this place that was built to share those joys and hopes. And so are we now, this day, and every day. Blessed be. So my apologies. There's like 3 different versions of the script up here, and none of them are complete. This was not what I intended to read this morning, but here we go. If I don't drive around the park, I'm pretty sure I'll make my mark. If I'm in bed each night by 10, I may get back my looks again. If I abstain from fun and such, I'll probably amount to much. But I shall stay the way I am, because I do not give a damn. I got to say that from the pulpit. Woo-hoo.
Our second reading this morning. Joy does not arrive with a fanfare on the red carpet strewn with the flowers of a perfect life. Joy sneaks in as you pour a cup of coffee, watching the sun hit your favorite tree just right. And you usher joy away because you are not ready for her. Your house is not as it should be for such a distinguished guest. But joy, you see, cares nothing for your messy home, or your bank balance, or your waistline. Joy is supposed to slither through the cracks of your imperfect life. That's how joy works. You cannot truly invite her. You can only be ready when she appears, and hug her with meaning, because in this very moment, joy chose you.
The power and promise of Unitarian Universalism is waking up to meet fear and hate with radical imagination, transformative partnership, resilience, and joy. That's a quote from Reverend Kristen Collins. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Out of darkness, light. Out of the light, warmth. Out of warmth, joy. Out of joy, togetherness. We give to remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and sacred space and joy and a safe place to dance, to care, to remember. We give with the faith that together we have enough, that together we are enough. Each week we pass 2 baskets, one for this faith community and one for the larger community. The second offering charity for March is the Trans Youth Emergency Project. The Trans Youth Emergency Project offers support of transgender youth and their families as they seek gender-affirming medical care. 27 states, including this one, now ban or severely restrict healthcare services for transgender people younger than 18 or older. The project provides one-on-one custom location services to find sympathetic healthcare providers, travel grants, and information about your state's restrictions. DUF's support of the Trans Youth Emergency Project expresses our affirmation of that second Unitarian Universalist principle of justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Please see the chat or the order of service for ways to give, and the offering is now gratefully received.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live.
There's a Wiccan saying that we still sometimes use to end our rituals with, and sometimes even begin things with. Merry met, for meeting or upon ending. Merry meet and merry part, to merry meet again. Merry meet. Enjoy and enjoy. Meet again. Because joy is its own form of liberation. I go back to the charge of the goddess that I started this service with. To these, she teaches things that are yet unknown, and you will dance and sing, feast and make music, and have love for each other. In the midst of all the things, right now, joy is here for us to connect with, to tap into, and it's necessary for us to reconnect with joy, especially in times of struggle, so we can refill our hearts, so we're ready for the next struggle to come. You have to rest, to breathe, and to make space for joy. It's a curious feature of autocratic regimes that forms of joy are often banned. Music is a common one. In China, under Mao, listening to the music of Beethoven was a crime. Folk or traditional music is typically condemned. In Nazi Germany, Jewish music was targeted before anything else. But contemporary music is just as suspect. The Soviet Union, for example, censored songs by artists as varied as AC/DC, Tina Turner, and Julio Iglesias. Yeah. In communist Albania, the regime of Enver Hoxha famously banned the saxophone. In Trinidad, the British banned drumming. Dancing, too. Really, all types of celebrations found themselves in the crosshairs of English European colonialists setting out to spread Christianity and civilization around the world, or something. Local authorities often forbade or disrupted native rights, or at minimum made relinquishing them a condition of conversion. Anthropologist Barbara Ehrenreich notes that in South Africa, among the Naka, it is said that someone who converted to Christianity had given up dancing. What dictators know is that joy has a positive effect, and the music and dancing can be a unifying, even encouraging force, and that anything that gathers and channels that energy threatens to upend the rigid control of a population. Music, dance, art, eroticism, all of these fuel an emotional response that creates momentum. And that can be hard to control. Let my worship be within the heart that rejoices, for behold, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals, and therefore let there be beauty and strength, power and compassion, honor and humility, mirth and reverence within you. The power of celebration goes beyond the energy they create. You know, only a few animal species celebrate, and the ones that do have two things in common with human animals. They're highly intelligent, at least some of us, and they're highly social. Elephants celebrate when the herd is reunited after a separation, stamping around and trumpeting. Wolves howl together after a hunt. But the most celebratory of all animals are our closest relatives, the chimpanzees. Jane Goodall wrote of observing chimpanzees celebrating finding a particularly dense patch of yams. And the San Diego Zoo has documented chimpanzees celebrating the arrival of a caretaker delivering a bunch of blackberry vines, one of their favorite foods. The first chimp to spot the caretaker begins hooting loudly, and the hooting spreads among the group, and the chimps begin to hug and kiss each other with friendly body contact increasing as much as 100-fold. But what's most remarkable is what happens after these festivities. the whole community sits down to enjoy the feast. The whole community, from the lowest ranking chimps to the highest, and everyone getting to enjoy the treat. Now, chimps are extremely hierarchical, so what's noticeable about these celebrations is that they disrupt that hierarchy, prompting a more egalitarian mode of behavior. Communal joy provides a kind of glue that unifies a group, and food is a joy. And favorite foods are the best foods to share, like chocolate eggs. There's a deeper effect here too. When psychologists study people engaged in communal singing or dance or other rhythmic forms of entertainment, they find that we become connected on a physical level. Did you know that choir singers' heart rates synchronize? Musicians playing the same riff have brain waves that line up. These experiences of synchrony create a psychological, physiological experience of community, one that can be profoundly unconscious. Studies show that even when strangers move to vocalize together, they become more generous, more altruistic, and more willing to sacrifice their own needs for the good of the group. That's why we chant at rallies, right? Scottish poet and songwriter Dougie MacLean wrote, "We are united now within this ancient wheel. We are united in the spirit of the music at our heels. On reflection, we build and we restore. We are as Mother Nature's children as we dance upon the floor, all together, all as one, all together, relentlessly, we're dancing on." Celebratory joy creates unity on an emotional and physical level, and a united populace is hard to dominate. At the same time, communal joy represents an outright danger to those repressive regimes, but individually, joy can empower resistance. It empowers us by reaffirming our humanity. Struggles for justice are often also struggles for acknowledgement of an oppressed group's full humanity. Joy is a sign of vibrant life, of thriving. It's one of those things that makes us human. So depriving a group of people of joy, whether through outright ban or denigration or shaming of their sources of pleasure or through economic means, it's all a method of dehumanization. And reclaiming those sources of joy is a way to refuse to be dehumanized, to reassert our vitality and our basic right to exist. As it's St. Patrick's weekend, a bit from a poem by Irish poet Seamus Heaney. Human beings suffer. They torture one another, they get hurt, they grow hard. No poem or play or song can fully right a wrong inflicted and endured. History says, don't hope. On this side of the grave, anyway. But then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history can rhyme. So hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge. Believe that further shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. To quote the author, poetry is just imbued in Irish society very, very strongly, and we turn to it in just these kinds of times. The more dehumanizing the circumstance, the more we need markers of our humanity. Did you know in World War I, soldiers on both sides were known to cultivate gardens in the trenches? In 1915, a soldier named Gotthold von Roden described a tent adorned with Howlager cartridge cases that had been used as pots to hold snowdrops. Other soldiers wrote home requesting flower seeds to plant. Whether it's the transcendent joy of sacred ritual or the simple joy of cultivating a garden, the pursuit of joy amid great struggle is a way to tend our humanity when it's most threatened. In her book, Pleasure Activism, author Adrienne Brown writes, "Recognize that pleasure is a measure of freedom, that states of being we are striving for, justice, liberation, and well-being are highly joyful states, and therefore pleasure can be a powerful tool for helping to achieve them. To be able to choose joy and experience it, this is the freedom that so many are fighting for. And joy is also a manifestation of abundance. The language of oppression is one of scarcity and fear, and I think to some extent an activist's goal must be to remind those who have been convinced that progress is a losing game that there is, in fact, enough to go around. That meme that says, it isn't that we can't feed the poor, it's that we can't satisfy the rich, isn't wrong. Not wanting people to have enough simply to hoard too much to enjoy is a very real way to steal joy. That's why Houston tried to ban feeding the unhoused. Because there can only be joy if you can afford to pay someone for it. We've seen how joy restores and unifies and propels, but another way that joy can support whatever activism is that it disarms. Joy takes something that might be threatening to people, such as a differentness or otherness, and makes it less so. Studies show, for example, how joy can mitigate something called your own race-face bias, which is where people tend to recognize differences in faces similar to their own, while failing to distinguish faces of other races from one another. But people do differentiate and remember joy, smiles, music, and laughter. Coming back to Audrey, the sharing of joy, whether physical, emotional, physical or intellectual, forms a bridge between the sharers, which can be the basis for understanding how much of what is not shared between them. It lessens the threat of difference. Joy, and celebrations in particular, focus our attention on commonalities, not differences. Aesthetics of joy can also disrupt complacency, drawing attention to a much needed attention to a cause. Any of y'all familiar with a project called Trash Any Color You Like? It places vibrant polka dot painted trash bags all around the streets of New York City. Because clad in black, plastic bags blend into the cityscape, and the consequences of our disposable culture become almost invisible. But when you see a mound of hot pink trash bags piled up on the curb, it offers a striking yet non-aggressive reminder to be less wasteful. We all want to keep joy, right? Not just throw it away. One of the challenges of activism is that the fights are long, The progress is slow, and the effort required is thankless and grueling. How many times in the last year and a bit have we heard, it's a marathon, not a sprint? And that's true, but as in so many fields, burnout is a serious risk, y'all. Especially because activist work is rarely well compensated, and because the strong sense of personal responsibility many activists feel make it very hard for us to take breaks. For activists who live with chronic stress, the risk of burnout is profound. Research shows that small bursts of positive emotion can help reset the body's physical responses to stress so that people can continue to fight from a place of well-being and strength. That's why this coming Saturday, Denton Cups is celebrating Ostara with a ritual dedicated to chocolate and joy. Because sharing our favorite foods and laughter is joy. And it's also resilience and resistance. True pleasure is more restorative than simply vegging out in front of the TV. Recognizing the power of joy within our lives can give us the energy to pursue genuine change within our world, rather than merely settling for a shift of characters in the same weary drama. I've talked a lot about the joy of communal celebration, but I am a pagan, so I'll mention that we can also find joy in nature. Whether the wild forests of the Atlantic Way that Julia sang about, or a manicured garden, they have the power to soothe anxiety, reduce rumination, and restore the ability to focus. I remind you of that meditation we did earlier. With gratitude, I remember the people, animals, and plants I have met with joy. Creatures of the sky and sea, air and water, fire and earth, all whose joyful exertion blesses my life every day. Yesterday at the farmer's market, Julia sang a poem by W.B. Yeats, and a part really stuck with me. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the veils of the morning to where the cricket sings. There's midnight all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening full of linnet's wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, while I stand on the roadway or the pavement's gray. I hear it in the deep's heart core. Sensory joy is a form of care that contrasts with traumatic circumstances and helps cultivate the resilience needed to counter oppression. Joy provides a glimpse of a better future that keeps us motivated to work toward it. Hope is an elusive yet vital ingredient for activism. Essentially, hope is the belief that tomorrow can be better than today. And without that belief, there's no point in fighting. Yet even the smallest kernel of it can move nations. How do we nurture hope? Well, one way is through joy in the present. It's one thing to be able to envision a better future, but it's another to have a momentary flash of it course through our bodies. If we just keep imagining where we're going, then it will constantly just be pushing back outside, as opposed to imagining what's happening outside of the cages. Hope is a form of emotional vision that strokes our motivation and fans the flames of change. So think about this question. Is it okay to feel joyful while the world is, in some cases, quite literally on fire? While babies are in cages and glaciers are crumbling and billionaires stand by self-righteously counting their billions? Well, I come back to Maya Angelou and a poem I was going to use, but didn't. Did you want to see me broken, with the certainty of tides, bowed head and lowered eyes, just like the moons and the suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Does my happiness offend you? Don't take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. If we relinquish our joy, we not only lose a profound source of unity, strength, and resilience, but we also lose the point of it all. And so we must risk delight, and we must know that to do so is not a distraction from resistance, but one of its greatest sources of power. In the midst of all the things that are horrible, joy is there for us to connect with, to tap into, and it's necessary for us to reconnect with joy, especially in times of struggle, so we can refill our hearts, so we're ready for the next struggle to come. Rest, breathe, and we must make space to connect with joy. So come, let's sing and make some joy. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1068, Rising Green, verses 1, 3, and 4.
My blood doth rise in the root of young oak, her sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land. My foot carries days of the old into new. No dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our faith settles deep in the earth, rising green to meet a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to meet a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to meet a new day.
Will you join me in the unison words for extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Joy, resistance, revelry. It's St. Patrick's weekend after all, and the whole celebration came about because an oppressed people decided to celebrate who they were when the powers that be told them they couldn't, which is a totally different sermon, and we don't have time for that now. So, here's a joy and to stubbornness and resistance. I leave you with this. Find friends and companions. Come join me in rhyme. Come lift up your voices in chorus with mine. Come lift up your voices, all grief to refrain, for we may and might never all meet here again. But it's merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. Blessed be.
The great waves from the Atlantic sweep storming your way, shining green and silver with a hidden herring shoal. But the little waves of Breffney have drenched my heart in spray, and the little waves of Breffney go stumbling through my soul. The great waves of the Atlantic sweep storming on their way, shining green and silver with a hidden herring shoal. But the little waves of Breffney have drenched my heart in spray, and the little waves of Breffney go stumbling through my soul. The great waves of the Atlantic sweep storming on their way, shining green and silver with a hidden herring shoal. But the little waves of Breffney have drenched my heart in spray, and the little waves of Breffney go stumbling through my soul. The great waves of the Atlantic sweep storming on their way, shining green and silver with a hidden herring shoal. But the little waves of Breffney have drenched my heart in spray, and the little waves of Breffney go stumbling through my soul. The great waves of the Atlantic sweep storming on their way, shining green and silver with a hidden herring shoal. But the little waves of Breffney have drenched my heart in spray, and the little waves of Breffney go stumbling through my soul. The great waves of the Atlantic sweep storming on their way, shining green and silver with a hidden herring shoal. But the little waves of Breffney have drenched my heart in spray, and the little waves of Breffney go stumbling through my soul. The great waves of the Atlantic sweep storming on their way, shining green and silver with a